Hey there, everybody. This is Mystic Fish, and welcome to episode 6 of our Factorio series on building a cellular megabase. Last episode, we set up our bot-based mining, and a couple of folks in the comments identified a problem. I initially said, nah, it's not really a problem. It'll be fine. But they actually eventually convinced me, and they made a good point, which is what to do about the fact that we're demanding copper in over here, but producing it over here, and do we run into problems? And they said, you know, you may run into problems when the mine starts to run out. And so in the case that we are no longer producing, right, as long as we're producing more than what the manufacturing part up here needs, plus what we're shipping out out of this station here, as long as we're producing more ore than that, like, this is actually fine. But once this drops below that level, then we start to run into problems. And the problem is this, which is that once the reserve, or once the amount of ore we have in these buffer chests falls below what we're looking to have in storage up here, then we're going to start requesting trains in. And the problem is, and you can imagine, like, once the mine completely runs out, this is I think the most extreme example of this, right? We're going to request ore in, and you can see I actually have a bunch of ore in here because I was working this out. But anyway, we'll request the copper ore in, for example, in this case. We'll shove it into the active provider chest. The bots will pick it up, stick it in the storage chest, or they might bring it directly to the buffer chests, which should be, which are generally going to be empty, right? Because we've run out of ore here. And then, so all of the ore will end up down here, and then we're going to ship it out again once the train fills up, and then we're just going to ask for more. So that doesn't really work, right? And the solution to this, and I believe Ted was our viewer Ted was one of the people that suggested this, is to just build a reserve up over here. So let's take a look. Let's remind ourselves. So in this case, we are looking for 48,000 copper ore, and we can make a reserve of buffer chests. Each chest has 48 slots, 50 ore, so that'll be 2,400. So if we say the amount that we want to have in here is 48,000, and we divide by 2,400, that gives us 20 chests. So as long as we can set up 20 chests here, then we can use this as a reserve. So what we're going to do is we're going to set that up in a second. But before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. And if you remember, this is the place where we are we're calculating the sort of average amount that should be in here. And the idea, and Ted suggested this, maybe others did as well, is that we just need to subtract out how much we want to have in reserve for our manufacturing purposes. And so the way we do that is we just put in a negative 48,000 here of the copper ore, and that will mean that the request here will be that much less. Great. So that will make sure that whatever reserve we have doesn't get requested by these. So that'll be, I think, one good step. And that might be enough to do it for us, except that because the manufacturing up here could pull from here. But I think just to really make things clear, let's just build our little reserve of 20 buffer chests here. And what we'll do is we'll say each one of these should hold 2,400 copper ore. Ooh, not 24,000, 2,400. And we just wire this up here like this. And then we say set requests. Now they all ask for 2,400. And we should fill this up. And they're like, I figured this out before, and like when I cleaned it up, everything ended up here. So Can grab that one probably. All right, so the bots will be busy building our buffer, but I think that addresses that issue there. One other issue that I realized is when we moved this up here, if you remember, we intended, and here you can actually see the remnants of it, this red wire here was supposed to put the global demand onto the global red network here. And when we moved it, we disconnected it. So in particular, if we look at, whoops. And in fact, yeah, so we can see the green network has, we have a 15 train load supply. So that's good. I believe that should probably also be subtracting the reserve here. Yeah, that should be subtracting the reserve. So we should also plug that in here. Okay. Then good. And so we need to just plug the calculation for how many train loads of demand do we have. And that's coming out of here. We have a negative 14. That doesn't seem right. Anything is greater than 0, put the input count. Oh no, that's the input signals. Okay, fine. Right, output signals do not include copper. Right, that's what we expect. Sorry, I was looking at the input signals. So then we just need to put the red wire back up here. And now we can see supply and demand. We have obviously way more supply of copper than we have no demand for copper in the network. And so we'll use that later. We'll set up some kind of dashboard so we can track when we need to add more mining stations to keep up with the base. Okay, I think that fixes all of the issues that we had. And let's see, what I want to do today is I want to talk builder trains. So let's give these things a name. I've named this. This is where construction for mining happens. So the idea is a builder train will come in here, drop off its stuff, and then leave. And then after this gets constructed, then this will be a place. We'll also construct a train here. But this will be a place where we build mining cell stuff. And so let's figure out, I want to spend this episode working out a little bit about how these are going to work. So let's just get a sample train in here. All right, we're gonna have hopefully we can fit the builder train into a 1-4 train. We'll see how that works. And so when it comes in, we want to unload stuff into storage chests. And I'm going to put these two in particular here because they're near the roboport, and we'll talk about that in a second. Each car has 40 slots. Each storage chest has 48 slots, and so that should mean that we're able to unload. Fully unload the each train car into one storage chest. So that should be good stuff. Now, and we'll have stack inserters to unload these things. Okay, now I want to scooch this guy up. Let's see, let's give you a little bit of fuel. And let's have you go there. And then manual, fine. Okay, and I just wanted to see, okay, so when it's in this position, these unloading guys will not access this train. So that is, I think, what we want. Okay, so when it's in this position, we're gonna be manufacturing the stuff to put onto the builder train. And so I think the way that I wanna do that is I wanna use buffer chests. And we just want to line up as many as we can with each one of these cars. Like so. Okay, we'll need to see how many individual... I think right now we're going to start with the idea that each one of these is going to have an individual item that gets loaded on here. but we'll see. We may have more different types of items, and so we may have to put more than one thing on here. So we'll see about that in a minute. But we're gonna have the stack inserters putting stuff in. We'll have to work out power in a minute. But actually, before we work, okay. All right, so we're gonna work this out, but I think this is the idea. This is what this is gonna look like. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. So I think one of the things, I think a property that we want is that we want to be able to stamp down on top of the basic herringbone print, right? You know, which we have these basic ones here. I think we also want to include up to this train station, because that's enough for us to then stamp down the rest of the blueprint. As long as this part is built, including this stuff and including power for it, then we can stamp down the whole blueprint for the mining cell. The builder train can arrive, and then it can, from there, it'll start building stuff, and then once the rest of the tracks are in there, it can leave. Or actually just pull ahead, potentially. But I think it will end up leaving. And so, yeah. Okay. Now, let's back this guy up. I want to back this, or I guess we can ride it around to the back station. Take a little lap around the mining cell here. Okay, I guess you went too far ahead, so we can... Hey, back up. Oh, you need to be in manual. Okay, and then I want you to go shift left click. There. All right, so let's take a look at this. Okay, I think what we want to do is, the reason, and this works out like really nicely, we want stack inserters here that insert the construction bots and logistics bots into the Roboport. But I think we want to do them in a different order. So I think in particular, we want I mean, it doesn't really matter, but let's say that the construction bots are going to be here. So I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to have construction bots in here. So I'm going to reserve that spot here. So that means one of these needs to request construction bots. So we'll say you are going to request 50 construction bots. The other thing that we're going to have in here is I just want to reserve. Well, let's see. We're going to have decider combinators up here that are going to look at the builder train and how full it is to make sure we have a full load before it goes out. And so I'm going to sort of set up a one-to-one correspondence between all the buffer chests here. So these are going to look like this. If we need multiple items, we may have to add some more things in here. So we'll see. Okay. Right. Okay, so then construction bots get offloaded here. They get immediately plunked into this. However, let's have the logistics bots in here put into this chest. So this one will insert logistics bots. Now, how many do we have in here? We have, I don't know how we ended up with 319, and that's an interesting amount. I thought we had a lot more in here than that. It could be that I picked some stuff up as we went. I thought we had like 750 in there. So, but anyway, I think it doesn't matter. Let's reserve 1,200 logistics spot slots. We'll say that's how much we're going to need here. No, not limit. All right, and that's the one we reserved. Okay. So the question is, all right, how do we know when to activate this inserter? So I think we want the construction bots to finish constructing the whole cell before we activate the logistics bots. And so I think for that to be, so I think we can build a little state machine here. And we'll do that in the following way. We are going to make a little memory cell here. So please just remember the things that you've seen, which is anything greater than 0, go ahead and output it. All right, so we'll remember what we've seen. Okay, now I think the first, whoops, we gotta move this guy over. Oh, I gotta turn on my bots. Okay. The first thing that we're gonna need to check is, no, I don't, that's not what I wanted. I just want one of these. Okay. So, the first thing is, when have the construction bots arrived? We've got one stack of construction bots. So, I believe that means that what we want to do is we want to ask this guy for its robot statistics. Okay, and so the total construction bots is T. So once all of the construction bots are in here, so basically once T is, let's call it greater than or equal to 0, then we're going to say we are in construction mode at that point. So we'll say output a bot, construction bot. Okay, so as soon as we have seen a construction bot, we'll do that. We'll be in the first phase. The next thing that we're going to look for is we're going to need to look at when are the available construction bots also equal to 50. No, so this needs to be 50. What was I doing? I don't know. Okay, so once the total construction bots are greater than 50, we're constructing. And then let's see, we actually need 2 steps here. So once the available, what is the available ones? Available one is Z. Okay, so once we have Z, nope, this needs to also be a decider. Once we have Z greater than or equal to 50, then we're going to output, we're going to say, what are we going to call this? I guess we'll call it yellow, just to pick something. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, we need now an arithmetic one. We're going to say, okay, once you have the yellow signal, and we'll do the loop back here, and you have seen bots, and the construction bots are going, bots, then you should output, it is time for logistics bots. And then once you have seen that, then we need to remember that. Okay, so I think that's the idea here. So we're going to unload the bots in here. Once we've got 50, we're going to remember that we've seen that the construction bots have been loaded. Then once they're all idle again, we're going to assume that they're done, but only if because I guess is there ever a time when we have all of the bots loaded but they're not busy? I think we don't need this one. I think we can just say once we have 50 idle bots, then the construction bots are done. I think that's what we want. Okay, and then we'll just come in here like this. And then what we do is from here, I guess, do we want the loop back? I don't know, it doesn't matter. We'll do this one. And we'll say you are only going to be enabled if we see it's time to put the logistics bots in. So that way logistics bots get unloaded here, but they're just going to sit there until we construct stuff. And sorry, I should say the reason that we don't want to activate the logistics bots until the construction bots are done is that there's a possibility that some of the stuff on the builder train might be ingredients to some of the stuff that we are building. I'm not 100% sure that that's the case or not, but I'd rather be safe than sorry here. So that's going to look that way. Now, we do need to make sure that we have power in here, especially without this one being here, because this one's going to be built later. All right, so we need to make sure that we have power at least out to this unloading station, this one right here. So we need to make sure that we can unload at least out this far. And then we also need to cover this back inserter. I wonder if we need to come a little bit further out here, because I also want to do some stuff for enabling and disabling this train. Good question. All right, so I think that just means we need power a little further out. So I can put, oh no, maybe I don't. Because I can, basically, I think what I want to do is this, which is, let's put a, let's put a decider combinator here. Let's read the train contents from here. Will that reach? Come on. What do you mean you can't reach? Boo, I say. Boo, I say. Fine. What if we put a power pole? Will you reach now? No. All right, so we need the power pole like here. Okay. Or actually, we need this combinator here. Fine. So then, all right, we're going to, this is going to be a memory cell. Anything each greater than 0, output each. And we're going to connect, let's see, actually what we're going to do is we're going to output stop. As soon as I've seen anything, I'm going to remember that I want to stop, and then that will even feed the stop back around. So I think all we have to do is this, and if we read the train contents from here, we'll say train limit will be 1. We will enable disable, and enabled if R is, or if the stop signal is less than or equal to 1. Okay, so the idea is as soon as the train comes in and it has any contents on it, meaning the first builder train has come in, we're going to start outputting the red signal because it's on a loop back. We'll remember the red signal is here, and that will disable this forever after that. Okay, so then we just need to make sure that this power gets over to that combinator, which would be here. And then from here, why can't I see where this guy is? There we go. And then that covers the other ones. But it, let's see, let's slide you up. Can I go one more over? No, you need to be there, but I don't have anything that connects me to the actual power. So we're gonna need that. Okay, so we'll need these 3 substations, this station, the tracks up to here, this combinator, and these unloading things. Okay, right, I think that's unloading. And that's exciting. Now, I think at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to, and then, sorry, the other thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that, let me turn my robots off for a second. If I pick this up, let's see, pick this up. Okay, where does this go to? Okay, so the construction area for this guy, here, I'm gonna get rid of these. The thing I want to make sure of is that the construction area for each roboport can reach the next roboport that it needs to produce, plus the power that's needed for that roboport. And so in this case, we can see that over here, the construction area would construct this one from this roboport, but it can't get this one, which means this has no way of getting power. So I think that means that when we put this guy back in over here, I think that means that we're going to want to put a big power pole here just to make sure this roboport has power when we build it. All right, you build that. Okay. Now let's figure out the same thing over here. Turn you off. Okay. No. Okay, sorry. Pick you up. Turn you off. Undo. Okay, that puts the ghost there. Okay, so that can reach down there, and it can reach this power, so that's good. This one should be on the same level. Oh, here, let's put you back in. Thank you. And you definitely come down into this area, so that's okay. And then we do need to make sure that the same thing is true. I guess we saw over here that this one will reach, so this should be okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure that we could construct all these things. These will construct down to here, and then we just need to make sure that if I pick this up and undo it, that's in the construction area, and so is its power pole, which means that should be also true over here. Okay, good. So that's the main thing I wanted to check, was that from this one roboport, the robots can reach and construct all of the other roboports, which means they can construct the entire cell. So that that's good stuff. Okay, what is next? What is next? I think the next thing that I want to do, and I think we may end the... Oh, let's see. I should put this one back. Turn the robots back on. Oh, and I guess I need to eventually plan for powering all this stuff here. Will it reach up here if I do it down here? Let's see. It doesn't reach the far... Doesn't reach... Unless I can scooch it up, like into here or something. All right, if I do that and that covers everything power-wise. Okay. All right, we're gonna come back and program this stuff, I think, in the next episode. But the general idea is we're gonna set all of the requests in the buffers. Those will be just static based on what's in the final blueprint. And then we'll read the train contents, and basically all these combinators will monitor the contents of the builder train to see when it is actually full of stuff. Which, interesting question, because we could just set those as conditions on the train, actually, which will save us a lot of space, to be honest. Okay, so we'll do that. That's actually better. All right, so that we're not going to need these guys, so that's good. And that means we can scooch these things up. That's fine. Let's see, where do these actually even need to be? The only thing that's not now covered are these three things here. So I guess we can just squeeze a power pole in like this. Oh, that doesn't connect to anything. How interesting. Okay, then that's not worth it, and we might as well just put the next thing of electricity over here. Okay, great. So now I think what I want to do is I want to take a blueprint here of just this part, and let's get into this view here. Okay, I want this to be grid aligned, or aligned with our sort of grid here, and so I'm going to grab all of the herringbone pattern that we have here, and then we'll trim stuff out of it. Okay, so I'm gonna call this the stem cell. And fine, we'll call this 0. This will be blueprint 0. Okay, let's see. I do not want train stops. I don't want any of this stuff for this one. Just entities. Okay, we are going to snap to grid. We do need to make sure the grid is... I don't want any of that stuff. I do need the grid to come down some. So we know the width here, we should make it 200, and the height is going to be 300. And then we have to offset the Y. It looks like maybe like 6. No, maybe 8. Okay, let's create this blueprint. Where is it? Here's my 0. Okay, good. That almost aligned. Okay, we gotta shove this guy over by 2. Save blueprint. Okay, that aligns there. We can take this stuff out that's hanging off the edge. Okay. All right, what I want to do here is I'm going to take a bunch of the stuff out of here. Because I think this can be something that we can stamp down over. I want this to be just this sort of like unloading bit that we just did. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up this part of the video just so you don't have to watch me going back and forth trimming stuff out of here like this. But I'll speed up the video and we'll come back once I have cleaned up this blueprint. So stay tuned. Okay, I am back and I realize there's a much faster way to do this. So we're going to do that instead, which is we're just going to blueprint this stuff, which is the stuff that that we want. So we can get rid of the storage tanks, the pipes. We're not going to use the buffer chests. We are going to use the storage chest and the roboport. We do need the rail signal, the station. We don't need this or this. And we don't need this stuff. Okay, and so let's call this the stem cell. And then we're going to change this to be a 0. Create blueprint. All right, let's take a look at that guy again. Nope, I don't need these stack inserters. Okay. All right, now I just need to align this thing. So we're going to snap to grid. The width is going to be 100 by 100. That's our grid size. We know this needs to be -12, -24. But we're going to have to, so let's see, this will be easier to see in map view. Let's put this down here just for a second. Okay, whoops. All right, so this is not aligned correctly. So we need to shove it up and over. I'm going to say it needs to go to the right 50-ish. So 50? Probably -50. Okay. And then it needs to go up. Let's call it -25, -26. Let's see if that works. Almost. Okay, so that went the wrong way. So we need to do the Y the other way. So let's do it +26. Save blueprint. Almost. Okay, so how close is this thing? It needs to go 2 more up, I think. So 28. Ooh, not 278, 28. All right, that's the right And it needs to go 4 more over. So minus 54. Did that show up? That showed up. Okay, and then the nice thing about this, if we go to map view, is I believe that means that we can stamp it we can rotate it, and we can also put it on the horizontal ones. And it should show up in the right spot for all of these. Okay, good stuff. So that's going to be our stem cell blueprint. I did see that there were a couple of requests for me to make some of the blueprints available. I'm going to work on figuring out how to do that. I'll probably add them as comments to the pinned comments to the videos as we publish them. But that is great. I'm glad folks want to play around with the blueprints. So we've just added a new one. And we will probably, I think, wrap up the episode there. We are going to proceed, I think, next episode. We're actually going to do the design and figure out the manufacturing parts that are actually going to populate what is going to be loaded in the buffer chest. That I've done a little bit of noodling around on that. I think I have something that will work, but definitely not enough time to do that this episode. So I think this episode we're going to pause here with our stem cell setup here, and we'll call that a wrap, and we'll leave the manufacturing as a problem for future Mystic Fish. So as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and until then, bye.